supported by Technicolor, principal partner Accenture, Dell, Epic Games, associate partner Autodesk, Aptech, Tech Mahindra, ICE, co-partner DNEG, Jetline, and SCPI, Indian Gaming Society is the institution partner. We had two very exciting days. We are on the third day. We will now begin our next session, Plenary 13B, Content Production, Remote Working Paradigm Platform Play. Global technology firms have worked hand in hand with media companies to bring worlds together across both entertainment and experiences. These are no longer just enterprise production tools, but give rise to a social connectivity among large communities. eSports is a great case study. We are privileged to welcome Ms. Anne Han, Chairman and CEO of Super League Gaming USA, Mr. Sumit Grover, Business Head, Cable Media Entertainment, Tech Mahindra USA. May I invite Sandra to kindly introduce them and take the initiative forward. Over to you, Sandra.
Thank you, Rakhi. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the CII session with Sumit Grover from Tech Mahindra and Anne Han from Super League Gaming. This is going to be a first of its kind panel involving two major personalities all the way from Los Angeles. I'm delighted to make this introduction of this panel on behalf of our conference chair, Mr. Bilion, who is very keen to introduce them himself, but is presently indisposed. This panel is on the coming of age of the technology industry, with companies like Tech Mahindra acting as catalysts in bringing about the change in areas where creativity meets technology. Sumit Grover will no doubt present the flavor of what Tech Mahindra does in the media and entertainment world, and he has also introduced Anne Han to demonstrate the power of virtual content creation platforms in emerging fields like eSports, which is gaining a terrific momentum globally. This panel will truly set the bar for many such initiatives that we will see in the future. I will leave it with Sumit and Anne to take you on their journey. Over to the two of you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Rakhi, Sandra, and Meerja. Appreciate you having us here. If you don't mind, I'll say something in Hindi for a minute because I always wanted to do this. इस मंच पर बोलना मेरे लिए सम्मान की बात है. It's a privilege for me to speak on this stage with my dear friend and industry colleague, Anne Han. We have made few pages that will walk you through. As Sandra very eloquently said, where creativity meets technology. She summed it up so very nicely. Both Anne and I will do our best to do justice to it and try and make this 1 hour as entertaining, exciting, and hopefully encouraging as well. Someone will have to let me share the content, please. Sandra or Meerja. The button is grayed out for some reason.
Yes.
I can't see.
Yes. Hold on a sec.
Sure. And while you do that, just a couple of days back, Anne and I and Viren were chatting about this panel. And we were joking the other day that COVID is really acting like a chief digital or a technology officer for the industry, given so much that has changed since this pandemic has hit us. I hope you guys can see the screen.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, super. I will try and stay as concise as I can. The most exciting part of this discussion panel will be led by Anne. If this panel was coming up just a few months ago, I don't think we would have even talked about social connectivity powering large communities. There are many technology companies and many engineering companies who provide technical solutions But what Tech Mahindra, along with our special partners like Super League Gaming, have been able to do, providing experiences from glass to glass, we are truly, truly honored and excited to present to you some of those initiatives. Let me date myself back to another conversation that Biren and I were having, and Biren said, Sumit, why is it that the Mahindra group, Tech Mahindra, everybody that I meet is so creative, while Tech Mahindra is really a technology company? I was researching and stumbled upon the fact that Anand, who the world knows that he's a business major, in 1977, he graduated in filmmaking from Harvard. It's not a coincidence that in 1978, using the game Space Invaders by Atari, the first major eSports competition was also done. About 10,000 people that participated. You all have seen us with Formula E racing. You have seen us at FIFA World Cup. You have also seen us within the Mahindra group celebrating, organizing, experiencing the Mahindra Blues festivals. So when it comes to music, media, entertainment, sports, and experiences, Tech Mahindra and the Mahindra group is not a new name. What's special today that we will share with you is what we're doing, leveraging the technology that has been powering the media and entertainment industry for decades. How we're leveraging that in the world of esports, powering some very large communities. And then Anne will also talk about how do we go beyond esports in very different industry verticals, be it education or some other businesses. Some of you may know a thing or two about Tech Mahindra, but we really in the media and entertainment business of Tech Mahindra that I have the privilege to lead here in North America, we truly believe technology is all about creating value. And there are so many technologically advanced companies that have been providing technologies. But when it comes to experiences, which have become the new currency these days, especially in our business, the technology that has always been available really is at the cusp of creating some new experiences that our industry has not seen. What is Tech Mahindra doing differently in this area? Our DNA at the company is powered by the entrepreneurial culture that we call RISE. We also call this as accepting no limits, alternative thinking, and driving positive change. The crazy customer centricity that each one of us demonstrate along with our partners, and the leadership that we have gained over the past 3 decades in the communications, media, and entertainment sector. Talk about our culture of nurturing talent, diversity, and inclusion. We truly believe it sets us apart as our DNA amongst our worthy competitors. If someone were to ask me, what does Tech Mahindra do in the media and entertainment world? I would put the 3 mega trends on one side of the house and the 3 expectations or objectives of our ecosystem and our customers on the extreme right-hand side. And then put 4 big bets that we as a company are taking. None of these are possible without our worthy partners and technology providers. So the 3 mega trends that all of us are seeing are the exponential growth in the content consumption. We all know about the video. The power of new technologies, be it AI, blockchain, machine learning, and we'll talk a little bit about these. And the explosion of the connected device across the entire ecosystem value chain of our business. Our goal is to enable our customers to help them run better, change faster, and grow greater. It is not just one of the 3. Our true objective is to align with the customers and the partners 3 key objectives. Now, what do we do for these three trends and three objectives. Tech Mahindra has focused in the media and entertainment sector their key offerings around the digital customer experience, content production and distribution in a blocks on the cloud, the software transformation that we've been doing for a few decades now, and very importantly, the network and infrastructure of the future as a service. With these key attributes that set us apart, we are very pleased to share that today we are trusted by world's top 5 cable and media entertainment companies around the world, world's #1 search engine, no marks in guessing, world's #1 social media platform. Some of you heard about this event on that platform, and America's #1 gaming company, just to name a few. The key pillars on which we have been able to build these experiences are the key domain knowledge experts that we have, the strategic investments we've done in the technology areas, the trusted technology, and the startup ecosystem partner. One of our very special guests that we have with us today will talk about that. I would like to draw your attention to 3 or 4 major initiatives that we've taken in the new age technologies. And since the discussion is how the global technology firms are powering or have been powering the media and entertainment industry, allow me to talk about 3 or 4 major initiatives around the topics that are not new anymore. We would like to call them, how do we rethink some of these initiatives? Let's start with blockchain. Very, very pleased to share the blockchain-based contracts and right management system for the global media and entertainment industry that we've launched in partnership with IBM. Very excited to share how we are rethinking AI, such a most used word in today's world. But how are we leveraging AI and really talking about enhanced intelligence? Because now we've been successfully demonstrating how, driven by AI, we are automatically filling the metadata, which in turn reduces the human effort by 50% and the overall reduction many a times over 80%, the overall time. We all know about cybersecurity, but if we are able to rethink cybersecurity around key areas powered by our technology providers and partners, think of that not just in the application and the data world, but also in the digital media supply chain world. We've taken major initiatives in the augmented reality, where, as you know, network and infrastructure are 2 key pillars of Tech Mahindra. We have successfully demonstrated the augmented characters that interact with the physical world as the audio dialogues and music is being played. We've demonstrated the 5G and hologram enabling people to have a true immersive 360-degree experience. How are we able to do this? We're able to do this by bringing world-class studios across phygital design by Pininfarina, the legendary Italian car designer company, Bio and Mad Pow. I don't know how many of you know about Mad Pow, but they truly specialize in the psychology of motivation-based design thinking. And then the newest crown, I would say, that got added in the family later last year, the Born Group, which are a giant in content, e-commerce, and creative design. All of this comes together only and only if we are able to have collaborative disruption with the partner ecosystem, especially the startups, where we bring the 4 big bets that we talked about: the customer experience, software, network and infrastructure, and digital media across both the sides of the glass. We call it glass to glass. I would like to summarize the technological advancements that companies like us have made in the media and entertainment world by talking about how we can together disrupt and transform, experience leveraging our hearts and mind, imagine with a growth mindset, and rise accepting no limits and driving positive change using our alternative thinking. It is my special privilege to invite my dear friend and a senior colleague, a name which is not a new name in the world of esports and technology, who's powering you and all of us to enjoy, share, and celebrate what we do and what we do the best. Please welcome Ann Hand, CEO and Chairman of Super League Gaming. Over to you, Ann.
Thank you so much, Sumit. I must first say that I feel very fortunate to be here. I had the great gift of meeting Sumit and a lot of the team a couple months ago, invited to be a participant in one of Tech Mahindra's fireside chats. And there's just these moments where like there is synchronicity or energy. And I felt that with pretty much everyone I've connected with at Tech Mahindra. And even last week when I had the privilege of meeting Baren, I felt those same feelings. And I believe that the universe does bring people to you right when you need them most. And I do feel that way very much in my heart about the interaction I've had with Tech Mahindra. So I'm just so grateful to be here. I am going to show my screen and let's see, making sure that this all looks good for you. Okay, so with that, I'm going to talk to you a little bit first about esports, and that might be an old topic to some of you or a new topic. So I'll just give you a little primer on esports and what Super League does and our positioning. And then, you know, there's always these great stories about how early stage companies build a little bit of technology for one use case. And then later, you find out that that ends up being your jewel in the crown and ends up having a lot of other use cases. And so when Sumit talked about and at the primer of the whole presentation around, you know, creativity meeting technology. This has been a little bit of an exciting moment for us as a company to see, you know, how this could really transform our future. So with that, okay. So first of all, Super League. Super League is a leading gaming community and content platform. So it looks on the surface like we are delivering esports for everyday gamers. 2.6 billion gamers on the planet, about 10,000 of them identify as professionals. That means they're being paid full-time salaries to competitively video game. And what I would say to you is this: sometimes the term esports can kind of make it sound like it's a niche or fad. So just think about the fact that there are 2.6 billion gamers on the planet and over 50% of them identify as competitive. So, you know, I often say I took tennis lessons as a kid. What would have been the point if I couldn't at some point joined a competition or maybe joined a team? And so Super League was really founded on the notion that we wanted to aggregate a really diverse community of gamers across different ages and skill levels and genres of games. And we wanted to give them that same chance to participate, get to make friendships, understand about sportsmanship and resiliency and how to dust yourself off after you lose and get back in the game. And so what we created is technology that on the surface, it looks like what it does is it creates amateur esports competitions and teams and leagues. But what it's really doing, again, is it's got a lot of social aspects to it. So it's about connecting gamers and creating those social connections. And the second thing it's doing is it's a content engine. right? So as these players come onto our platform, they're giving us their content, their live stream of their gameplay, but also all kinds of other things, their highlight reels, kind of the pre-game talk. And what we did when we were designing it is, in the early days, we thought, wouldn't it be magical if we could create physical playing fields as well for gamers? So what if we could create cloud-based technology that didn't take a lot of hardware, but it really used existing retail to create fields for everyday gamers to participate in these competitions. And so that was really a bit of the early hallmark of the company. The beautiful thing is we built the technology to be both game title agnostic and also location agnostic. So for us, it's very fortunate in the wake of COVID that it hasn't really hurt our business at all, that gamers can still participate in our competitions from the comfort of their home. And there was something that Sumit said earlier, and it's funny because he's actually the one who came up with this tagline. I was telling him about the purpose of the company because we're really motivated by the fact that, you know, when gaming is done at home alone, because it has anonymity to it, sometimes people behave badly. And one of our insights was that everybody's a gamer these days. It's no longer a narrow profile of who's a gamer. People aren't growing out of it anymore. And actually, the majority of gamers believe in inclusivity and kindness. And so we really rallied around that messaging of empowering, inclusive gaming, and that gaming can be positive and good for you when it's done in the right context. And so I'm going to credit Sumit here because he gave us the new tagline of the company, which is enjoy what you do, share what you do, be celebrated for what you love. And that's really about the fact that Super League in its essence is a user-generated content platform with a really cool piece of broadcast technology I'm going to tell you a little bit more about. So first, just a little bit more about gamers. I've told you about the big numbers. That's no surprise to you. There's about 400 million people who identify right now as eSports fans. What that means is they are fans of the professional leagues and teams. That's already in the States bigger than the fan base of Major League Baseball in America or the National Hockey League. So those are astounding numbers. And the other thing we know here in the States is that, you know, this is a much younger audience. It's that elusive Gen Z millennial audience that is so coveted by brands and by sports leagues. The other fascinating thing is gamers have higher average household incomes and college graduation rates than traditional sports fans. And because we have older millennials now having their first children and they're still gaming because you don't grow out of it, as I said earlier, 46% of avid gamers say they game with their parents or siblings as a way to spend more time together. So, you know, gaming is already, it's kind of shocking, but even pre-COVID, it was already bigger than television. It was already bigger than the music industry. It was already 3 times the size of the global film box office. So it really is the dominant form of entertainment for this younger generation. And when I talk about who's an avid gamer, well, they're playing at least 10 hours of gameplay a week, which, you know, if you have a son or daughter who plays Fortnite, you probably could only wish that that's the minimum hours they play. And the kind of fascinating thing is they're also watching an additional 10 hours of someone else's gameplay. And that's always a little bit of a shocking one if you're not a gamer, is why would you watch somebody else video game? But you know what you have to remember is this is interactive entertainment. It's about the chat, the community. Just like people might feel an allegiance to their university or their hometown, people feel an allegiance to this game and they really bond with the other players around the game. And it's not just watching the gameplay, it's the funny narrative on top of it. It's the shoutcasting and all the other elements. Now I highlight this 3 billion number in the bottom corner because this one kind of always makes me smile a little bit. You'll see these big projections that eSports is going to be a $3 billion industry by 2022. Well, in my former life, I ran a $3 billion global business unit for British Petroleum. And let me tell you, that was a smaller one. 3 billion would not have all of this excitement and smart money piling in. That number is just simply an extrapolation of what's been known. And what's been known is about the what happens for the 10,000 professionals out there. And what they aren't really tapping into is the craving that exists for this new market category for everyday gamers to participate in esports. I often say that even if we're wrong, and it's not 50% of the 2.6 billion who identify as competitive, but it's just 10%. And if you can just imagine that they would be willing to put $5 US, say, to work a month at this hobby that they have. And, again, traditional sports cost a lot more than that. Well, that's now a $15 billion market category. So you can see how much opportunity there is as we really think about the way that we can focus on the base of the pyramid and this kind of prosumer opportunity. And then sometimes I do have investors and brands who always seem so shocked at the notion that even just in the States alone, there are over 100 universities that offer esports scholarships. It's not because those kids are going to become esports pros. They're really too old at that age, shockingly. It's really because it's a pretty good marker for computer science and other complex degrees. So again, this just reinforces that, not all of these games are violent. Most of them have layers of strategy and critical thinking, and when done in the right context, can actually be very good for you and have life-building skills. Now, how did we get there? You guys know this more than I do. First we had the arcades, and then the arcade came into your home. And then with the proliferation of mobile devices, now you put gaming in everyone's hands. The establishment of professional esports teams and leagues was just one more advancement that solidified esports. And we're really now kind of removing the final couple barriers. Because what gets in the way of somebody trying to level up in gaming? Well, it's adequate broadband, so certainly 5G, and even just mobile gaming becoming more competitive is already a pretty significant breakthrough. And then when you hear a lot about cloud-based gaming and streaming in the cloud, that's a really good thing too for the everyday gamer and for Super League, because it means that the player who right now might have to invest in a lot of hardware to download that game and power that game, if more of the work is being done in the cloud, then it might take a fraction of the cost to invest in that kind of laptop or that console. So all those things are good. And then the ultimate trend that drives Super League is really the democratization of content creation. Everybody wants to be a star now. And as we go more into first what Super League stands for, and then the technology we have behind it, you're going to see that we really put the tools in the players' hands and empower them to create their own compelling content. So a little bit about Super League just and our business model today. So, we knew early on that if we wanted to get into this space, that we were going to first have to really be compelling to the publishers. They own the IP, right? And so we have to build trust with them for them to give us their great game titles like Minecraft, like Fortnite, like League of Legends, because really we are a marketing arm for them. We create more stickiness to their game titles, but we have to take care of that great community they've already built. So we don't make games, but we work with the top game publishers to bring their games in this new kind of structure to the masses. We work as well with the pro teams, because if you think about it, anytime a sports league is just starting in those nascent stages, one of the ultimate challenges is how do you create a fan base? So when you look at Super League, we do a lot around youth esports and young adult esports. And so in some ways, we're teaching kids, their parents, all about this opportunity to kind of root for a pro team and to become fans at the professional level. And that's so important when you're trying to drive that ultimate higher franchise value at the pros. We obviously work with venue operators. Again, the good news is it's an online to offline platform. So if retail is closed, that's fine. We can continue with surges of engagement in our platform, but it's nice to know that we can also be a real customer client helper to retail. We can drive new foot traffic. We can help them deal with difficult day parts and help them build on like-for-like sales. All those drivers that are so critical to the great retail operators out there. And then of course we have great brands that we work with, because brands are trying to reach this very elusive audience of gamers, right? They're known to be cord cutters. And so how do you reach them, and how do you reach them in an authentic way? And so off here to the right on the slide, I'm just giving you a little taste of who our brand partners are, whether it be the live streaming we do on Twitch, the promotion of new releases we do with Netflix, trying to reach those gamers and get relative content to them. We work with great publishers like Microsoft, who publishes Minecraft, with Epic, who publishes Fortnite, Riot Games, who publishes League of Legends. T-Mobile and Sprint have been customers as they're trying to get out and promote 5G and its advancement. So we've been very fortunate that we've been able to attract a lot of people to this platform. And what I would say most is, again, I think the reason why they come is twofold. One is because, again, we're sending a new message about gamers, and we're creating a really inclusive place for a diverse audience of gamers to come and come together. So just a little bit about what's happening with us as a company. You know, it's a dire world circumstance, and, you know, we're a young company, and it's odd in a way that it's been an opportunity for us because so many people are at home and they're looking for more things to do. And so there has been a surge in gaming. And again, if it's the dominant form of entertainment for the younger audience, then it makes sense they're going to be doing it more, just like I'm watching way too much Netflix right now. But we've really seen a pretty significant surge. Last year, in the earliest efforts to build audience, that's spectating audience. So this isn't players, this is people watching our content, watching our highlights, watching our gameplay. We did about 120 million views. It was big to us. It's modest compared to big global media companies. But the fact that in the first 7 months of the year, we've done 7x that. So we hit 1 billion video views through July, you know, 7x what we did in the full year of last year. We also, just in April, introduced a consumer marketplace for microtransactions inside our platform. And right now, while only 7% of the customers are paying, the average monthly basket is $10. And we think that is a pretty compelling and exciting kind of movement that we're getting in monetizing the player themselves. As well, last year we did about 15 million hours of gameplay through our platform. And about 75% of the views that we drove off of that gameplay came from user-generated content. Again, we're not producing it and pushing content down. It's everyday players giving us their highlight reels. This year, we're averaging about 5 million hours a month. So on track to do north of 60 million hours. So 4x what we did last year. And more importantly, on the viewership side, 99% of our viewership is getting driven off of the gamers sharing their highlights, their gameplay with each other. So if you think about it, we're really, probably the most important engagement metric over time for Super League is going to be how much did player-to-player share. It's not, again, about us being the hub in the middle and all the spokes are the players. Our whole platform is about putting the tools into the players' hands so that they can connect and share and challenge. And then we've had a pretty explosive growth. We've gotten to 2 million registered users. So those are actual players. So it's not the people who watch the content, but it's the actual people playing. And we've gotten to a pretty, I think, important inflection point on our registered user base as well. So let's talk a little bit about our platform. So, you know, really high level, the consumer experience, the player gets onto superleague.com or gets onto our different social channels, posts their highlights, registers for events and gameplay, creates their own Minecraft server, socializes, all different ways for the consumer to get online and to engage, create a profile, start tracking their stats and scores. What's behind the scenes and bucket number 2 in the middle is all kinds of digital tools. And these are things that support how we match you with like players. So because we want you to have a good competition. We can push you into brackets or different types of team formations. We can post leaderboards in real time. We can generate those highlights I've talked about. We can ticket you for the event if you are a paying customer. We can create prize fulfillment. So there's a whole set of digital tools behind it. And if I'm very candid, there's nothing too special in bucket number 2 here. I'm not saying there isn't a lot of good tech and work done, but just being able to operate esports is in itself somewhat commoditized. Now, if you think about our early days, though, what happened is we were going to those retail outlets, right? And so it might have been a movie theater or a Topgolf location or a restaurant. And we said, gosh, we're having a lot of family and friends show up, but they've got nothing to do. You know, the players are all looking at their mobile devices, and what does everyone else do? I mean, they want to participate too. They want to cheer and get excited about the gameplay. And so we started to think a lot about the big screen. We thought about either that big movie screen in the movie theater or maybe a big flat screen, you know, TV at the restaurant or at the other venue. And we thought about, can we create a broadcast, a real-time broadcast? And even if you're not a player of that game, a parent can cheer, can get excited to see their son or daughter moving up the rankings, or even start to maybe understand this game that they don't play. Now, the problem is we're not a big global media company. We don't have big content studios. We don't have cameramen we can fly to locations. We don't have, you know, satellite trucks and relays and switchers. And so we had to really think smart about, is there any way we can create a compelling broadcast, but do it in a very affordable way? And so we started marching down this road of creating what really has become the signature piece of our technology. And it's a 100% remote, completely cloud-based content production and broadcast platform. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what makes that special. So first, a little bit of a conceptual slide, just to give you a little bit of a feel for it. So right now, the technology that's the most important and is where we filed some patents and is kind of very proprietary is the middle box. It's this virtual production booth. But let's first talk about the inputs on the left. First of all, when you're playing, we don't have 5 or 10 cameramen. We've got thousands of cameramen because every player, their game stream coming off their device is logged into our system, and we want the opportunity to grab it. And we have to grab it first because we're tracking their stats. We need to know in real time how to populate the leaderboards and know how they're ranking or their team is ranking in the national tournament. But if you think about it, that's to simultaneously ingest thousands of camera feeds or gamer streams from all these players that can be dispersed anywhere. It could be thousands of players all sitting at home. They can be dispersed across 100 locations across a given country. But that in itself, that ability to run mass participation experiences with that many simultaneous feeds is in itself a challenge for a production booth or a human team to be able to absorb. You know, how would you ever know how to move back and forth between the different streams? So that's why we had to start using AI. We had to drop in smart, intelligent bots who do different things depending on the game. In a game of Minecraft, they're players. Now, they're not playing the game. We actually have them teleport and fly above the game. And what they do there is they're smart enough that they first give us a drone level view of the field, so that, you know, if a parent's watching, they're not just seeing the first-person views of the different independent gamers, but they're watching the whole field, just like you would be watching in a cricket match or a baseball game. And they're also smart enough that they know, with a little bit of heat map technology, where to go. So they're picking out the best gameplay to follow. So that's kind of already doing a job that usually a human would do. They're picking which streams to pick and to show off based on what's happening in the game. And in other games, if we have thousands of matches happening simultaneously, they're looking for other markers, like is someone moving up the leaderboard fast, or is someone getting ready for a really good play? So they know how to switch the camera back and forth intelligently to make sure that what's being broadcast is exciting. Now, at the same time, we're feeding in our live statistics database. And this is important because as all these feeds are coming into the virtual production booth, we're not only curating what's the best feed from the camera angles to show, but we also are overlaying in a very automated, templated way, real-time dynamic graphics, data like live leaderboards. you don't want to look up on the screen and know that your friend or your son was #1 in the country a minute late or even 30 seconds late. You want to know immediately. Just like when we watch live sports on TV with a high production content broadcast, we want to know that information in real time. That's what creates the dynamic experience for the fans as well. And that's a little bit of the magic of Super League, is we're ingesting all these mini feeds, we're quickly curating them, and then we're broadcasting them back not just to venues, but also to digital locations. We can be live streaming it to our own Twitch channel or someone else's. We can be repackaging the content and posting it as video on demand. But the key is the millisecond lag of the broadcast back and the quality that gives you the impression that there is a large physical studio somewhere with a lot of people and hardware in it producing this kind of high quality, negligent lag kind of experience that gives you that sense of real-time sports. So if you are a real technical person, I know I'm sure there's some in the audience, this is kind of, this is the type of slide. We don't show the slide I used earlier. This is a little bit more of taking you deeper. This really has, even though it's completely cloud-based and everyone's sitting at the comfort of their home on PCs, not sitting on the traditional content studio hardware, but they get the same kind of interaction. You can whisper in the talent's ear. There's green room capability. You can mix audio in the most kind of high-end ways. You can have redundancy built in with technical directors and backup technical directors. And you can bring the audience in, right? So the same thing the way that we solve for bringing in thousands of gamers simultaneously, it's no different than bringing in thousands of people to sit in the audience and cheer. And so again, it's that many-to-many capability that we have that again is completely remote, completely cloud-based, and completely done off everyday laptops and everyday at-home internet connections. That really is kind of what's transformative. And what we're so excited and we're working with Tech Mahindra on is how do we now really think about how to productize this further? Because imagine if we could put this in the hand of any storyteller, right? This type of access to these quality tools. As I mentioned, the way you can manage talent and the host and the audience. The fact that we've taken, some tools are kind of commonly used tools in content production, but it's the way we've architected them into one turnkey product. So you're not switching back and forth between other tools. And then we've added in with our own differentiated proprietary product some of the holes that kind of get in the way. Right now, if you talk to big content producers at the top companies, we were talking to some top content producers at ESPN a couple weeks ago, and they said it's so frustrating dealing with the audio video lag, even if it's just a second or two. Their quality bar is so high. And so, when we talk about millisecond lag between audio video, that's kind of music to their ears. And the way that we have these shortcuts built in so that you can move back and forth between these various features really makes it super easy for the content producer who's sitting at home. Again, as I've said, it all works with the talent and the audience all using kind of classic webcams and mobile phone cameras that they're already using at home. It's all standard home internet connection. If you do want to have a physical content studio somewhere that's light and still use all the talent and the audience and everyone else at home, that's fine too. It easily integrates with all of the physical content studio opportunity, but you don't need that. That's the key, is you don't need a physical studio anymore to create these types of high-end broadcasts. And again, as I mentioned earlier, there's these broadcast level graphics that really create this dynamic interactive experience. And it is very easy as well to integrate brand sponsorship and commercials and all of that other type of monetization features. So really, the kind of exciting place we're in is the magic of that technology. When we were first talking, Sumit and I said, when you solve for an eSports broadcast, it's almost like we took the most complex, 100% remote broadcast use case. because you had to accept those thousands of cameramen, those thousands of gamer streams. And in doing so, I said to him, I really think this could be a solution for education, for training, for traditional sports broadcast. I mean, even just in entertainment alone, if you sell for eSports, producing a game show or a talk show off of this technology is easy. And not only is it easy, it's affordable. And I think that's been the most exciting conversation we've been having in this space over the last, few weeks as we start to show off and demonstrate this technology to people, is that, you want to save your content production budget for your most elite broadcast. But right now we're in a world where there's a content void. And Super League has created a super affordable turnkey way to bring content back, and to bring it back at a completely different cost base than what people are used to. Save your big budgets for the Olympics or for the highest and best kind of higher end content production. But there are 22 other hours of the day where now you can dramatically transform the cost base of your production by using something that really, in a way, is kind of the new way that content will be produced going forward. And again, I just can't say enough. I mean, I'm hoping all of you and yours are safe and well during this time. In no way do I ever want to capitalize on what's happening in the world. I will just say, for us, what's been fascinating is to see how it has provided an accelerated window for us to put this technology into people's hands and to show off how future of content production and broadcasting is now. It's in the middle of 2020, much faster than we ever expected. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne. You truly are the myth buster, if I may. The discussion started with intersection of creativity and technology, and how so beautifully you could bring in esports and gaming with kindness, inclusivity, and such powerful words, especially in these times. These are such powerful use cases of community building. Again, going back to the topic where it all started with bilion, on how the technology can power the social connecting truly the large communities. And this is what we truly represent together, Tech Mahindra and SLGG. Technology has always been there. I talked about blockchain, AI, and we can go on, and these are new fancy words for things that have been known to all of us for so long. It's when the mindset opens up, the business models open up, and that's what you've been doing. And we found a great partner in you, and very excited to also share with everybody on this panel, on this stage, that we are entering into a strategic partnership. The scale, the technology that Tech Mahindra brings, the domain expertise, and the leadership that SLGG brings, we are super happy to join hands, and we'll soon hopefully see some announcements from us together. And given that we got a couple more minutes, and I'll wait for a clue from Rakhi or Sandra. You very nice. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, I was just checking with Rakhi. Do you have any questions that can be posted for you to answer?
Yeah, please. If not, I have a few questions.
Sure.
We have not got any questions from the audience, so maybe you can.
I always have questions for Anne, and we could go on and on. How much time do we have, Sandra?
We have another 10 minutes.
Okay, good. Great. Thank you. So, Anne, if you don't mind me asking, we've definitely talked about what this partnership means for, of course, esports, and what more can be done, be it productization for the media and the entertainment industry. But to SLGG, would love to hear your thoughts on what does this partnership truly mean when a Tech Mahindra and SLGG come What does it mean for a gamer? What does it mean for a large business or a large enterprise? Please share some thoughts on that.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, I have some time under my belt with larger companies. And one thing, when you then get into a small company and you're trying to grow something from scratch, sometimes your soul needs to be fed talking again to people who have scale. And one thing that Sumit has done for me in our conversations is he's made me think bigger. And so, I've adopted the Tech Mahindra, run better, change faster, grow greater lines. And I feel that I think about it every day, right? And I don't think incrementally as a small company. I think about with that partnership, what that could really mean for the gamer, for the future of the company, and even for the uses of the technology. So, what I'll first say and run better, already we're digging into exciting conversations about where we can find more efficiency. Usually when you're a small company, you aren't in that mindset yet. You're just trying so hard to grow and create something from scratch. But we've already unearthed some really exciting opportunities to kind of be more efficient, reinvest in the company. We've also started to look at the beautiful suite of companies that Tech Mahindra is engaged with or is invested in. And there's so much opportunity to work with those companies to help us advance our offers in a way that makes the gamer experience better, but also does what we're all here to do, which is to monetize faster, right? And so I think that by the leverage and scale that we can get because of that great talent and resources, this access to domain expertise in these areas, we're going to advance our offer a lot faster, and that will lead to better profitability. It'll lead to top-line revenue. But then I think the really exciting part comes in, because Tech Mahindra is a connector, and they're a connector to the top TMT companies in the world. And what does Super League need most? When you think about, again, it's very humbling running a small company. It used to be I could kind of put my business card down and people wanted to meet me. And now I put my business card down and they're like, what's Super League Gaming? And we know we're sitting on something special, but when you think about the opportunity we have through the wonderful relationships and partnerships that Tech Mahindra has, to do really, I think, two things. I think transformative scale for Super League is either serious material customer acquisition or very material content distribution. We're proud of the numbers that we showed: 2 million registered users, gamers, 1 billion views through the first 7 months. But look, we know that's nothing compared to the global giants out there. If we could find a way to bring tens of millions of more people into our platform, because we are providing this great everyday gaming for casual players, and then we can also get global distribution and reach of that content, it changes the company forever. And so I'm grateful that it's not just about the output, it's about the input in a way for me, because the energy, the way I'm seeing things through a different set of lenses, I feel like a bigger leader, and that I'm going to pull forward the trajectory of the company faster.
Thank you for sharing that, Anne, and you're giving this way too much credit to us. We truly believe in the technology that you've built. It's world class. We truly believe that our customers, existing and new, will definitely see the value, and 1 + 1 here is definitely equals to 10. And Sandra, no pressure. We only are asking for tens of millions of new subscribers. So when we come back on next year, Anne can talk about 20 million, 200 million unique players and subscribers in the community. That's what we truly stand for. I see others are joining in. We got 1 minute to go. Anne, any parting comments from you?
Well, I do feel like, you know, I would love to know from you. Let me ask you a question. Why does esports excite you?
Why does eSport excite me? Thank you for asking this question. And in today's world, anything that that has a prefix excites everybody. I think Apple did it than I. But esports, as you very rightly said, and giving your personal example, and you took lawn tennis lessons, but what if? And I think that what if is with everybody. And the more and more we are spending time, especially in this pandemic, reflecting on things that we want to do, we feel how fortunate we are. But then there are many people who don't have those ways and means to even go and get that tennis lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Now this brings that potential, giving that in the hands of someone who really couldn't even imagine. And I really loved how you brought in the kindness and inclusivity. I'm going to keep using those two words because that's what truly we have the power and the potential to change the perspective or the true outcome, the true impact. That's what we're going for, Anne.
Thank you.
Thank you, both of you. Thank you, Sumit, for articulating Tech Mahindra's 343 business strategy so clearly for our audience, and your insights on the fact that everybody is a gamer and about positive gaming is what makes Super League Gaming really special. This was a truly valuable and wonderful session, Sumit and Anne. It's great to see the partnership between the two companies. Again, a big thank you for taking the time out to be a part of the program. Viren would have loved to be here, but it's unfortunate that he couldn't. But you sure have made him proud. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We wish for a speedy recovery. Dhanyawad. Bahut shukriya.
Thank you so much, our eminent panelists. It was a great session, and we look forward to your continued partnership and interaction with you. Thank you so much.